Today's guest is multi-Grammy Award nominated drummer and composer Dan Pugach, a celebrated jazz artist and multiple award winner, including the ASCAP Foundation Jazz Composer Award. Dan leads the Dan Pugach Nonet and Big Band, known for their original music and captivating arrangements. From his Grammy-nominated album Plus One to his latest release, Bianca Reimagined, Dan's work continues to push boundaries in jazz. So tune in as we explore his journey, creative process, and passion for big band music. So Dan, good to see you.
Good to see you, Abe. It's
So
been a
Dan,
minute.
yeah, definitely. It's been a long time. Dan, the first thing I wanted to talk to you about was why it is that you go in the direction of playing in these larger ensembles. Typically when we see jazz drummers, they like to be able to play in a trio or a quartet, and maybe they might feel that their voice can be heard a little bit more. But what is it for you about these larger ensembles that's so personal and and drives what you do?
That's such a cool question, man. The original reason was to just create an opportunity to play, right? So instead of like waiting by the phone and hoping for a gig to come in and or having to like go and cultivate the scene and like regardless of like going seeing shows and stuff, just um hustling to be called for something was a little bit not very not a very good business track for me. So I decided, I was prompt to write for a five horn project when I was at City College by Mike Holliber, who's a big band composer, and he was running the BMI Jazz Composer Workshop at the time. So he kind of pushed me to write for a nine-piece ensemble. And I really didn't go to school for that, neither at Berkeley or City College. So kind of like through that, I discovered that, wow, I can speak through the arrangements and I can create opportunities for me to play. And also kind of like while I'm at it, and while I'm at the headache of trying to book a show or whatever, I feel like it's not really more difficult than working with a trio. I mean, I love a trio and a quartet, and I did that for a while. Um, when I just moved to New York, and then once I got into this nine-piece ensemble, it kind of took over. It created a life of its own, and its own identity almost. And so I started doing that. But always, when I was writing for the Nonet, I was always writing with a big band in mind, in my ear, coming out of the Vanguard Orchestra, like loving Mel Lewis, Ted Jones big band, and everything else, all the classics and all the modern stuff. And I was trying to fuse that into the Nonet until I realized, okay, maybe it's time to write for a big band, just to see what happens. And so I started doing that, and I've been trying to get better at that. And
Well,
then I recorded, it's, and then 20 years go by.
no, but do you think that if you were to look back maybe 10 years ago, that where you are now would be very different from what you would have imagined musically?
Oh, I would never imagine being at this point, and I'm still trying to digest. I keep apologizing and stuff, and people say, "No, you should, you deserve or whatever," which is nice sometimes, but I still can't believe all the things that have been happening, and that's just out of plain, like writing for myself and writing for me to play. I'm writing from the drum chair, meaning I know I'm going to be playing it, so I'm kind of writing with that in mind. So it kind of affects how I write and what I write and how much I spend time on whatever sections, or if it's like very openly conducted stuff, or if it's like in time, like all those go into consideration when I write for me to play and be able to like drive it from the drums. Um, never thought beyond. Didn't really have a goal. Like, oh, I'll write this and then I'll pitch it to someone, and then like I had no business plan
It seems
whatsoever.
like with what you've been doing, like once you got into going this direction, it's like it's almost been like a positive snow, like a thing that
Yeah.
just keeps going. And I always think about, there has to be obviously the preparation, the talent that goes into it before, but in New York, you talked about hustling gigs and waiting for the phone to ring, which is something that a lot of musicians, struggle with. And then you said, I'm gonna, just pursue things as a band leader. But when did the wheels start to really go in motion? Was there a certain gig that happened, or was there a review? When did you feel like, okay, I really have something now with this?
I mean, it's also a good question because for a while I was just writing a couple of charts for the Nonet and then trying to book whatever wherever I'm welcome, right? So I played at this like art gallery that was like like a made up thing. It wasn't a venue, you know. And then we played with the Tea Lounge when it was around, and we
In
played.
Brooklyn, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
remember the Tea Lounge was like a
Mhm.
used to be a coffee shop, and you know it's been through different iterations. But and then I tried to get a gig at like one of the jazz clubs, and nothing, no beef with any of them. I'm just saying like there was a curator that had a Thursday at one of the clubs, and she said, you know, like send me your stuff. So you sound good. Like she heard me play, and she said, oh, send me your stuff so I can book you. And thinking, okay, I have videos of the band playing at this place or that place, and Rockwood at the time. You know, I would tailor my set to fit like a 40-minute thing at Rockwood, and I would kind of also like make musical decisions about it to like fit and like tailor the music to the room. You know, um, not like 20-minute solos. You know, like kind of like feature more of the songs and a vocalist, and like I would anyway. But
Very well, very, very, executed to fit the venue and the time frame.
yeah, completely. And gain new fans that are outside of the jazz world a little bit, if
Beautiful.
possible. But then the lady, the curator said, I sent her the stuff, and she said, "Oh, okay, but these are videos from gigs. But where's your album with reviews and all that stuff?" And that kind of like put a stop on me for a minute, and I was like, "Okay, I need to record." And so fast forward, I recorded the band in a few sessions. Again, like no crazy pressure, just like I went in for 4 hours, 5 hours, got a couple of tunes. One of them I didn't like. I rearranged it, and then a few months later I did another session, and then I came up with the album. One of the arrangements was nominated for best arrangements in the Grammys. That was the Jolene Dolly Parton song that I've been playing with Nicole since we met. You know, so I took our thing and made it large, and then that was the first time at the table where we woke up to a nomination, and we're like, oh wow, okay, so you just put out original music and keep doing it, and then things maybe happen.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Once that happens, when you get that nomination, everything, I'm sure it gives you confidence in everything to keep pushing. Um, but has your outlook on pursuing different gigs, that sort of thing changed, or do you still feel like you have to kind of, even though I've had this success, you still got to grind it out?
No, for sure,
Still not as
grind, for
easy.
sure. Oh, for sure. Uh, I also think the grind is good, but that can also be a different whole different topic. But um, for a minute, I got the illusion of, oh, okay, now I'm nominated. Back then, now I'm nominated. Things are different. I should look at myself differently. I should take myself seriously. I should raise my, I don't know, like, nope. It's all but an illusion, and it's a nice little recognition on the way. It's a little nudge to say it doesn't. It's not terrible. Maybe do it if it makes you happy, and then that's all it is. And
So what you're
so,
saying is that even though these things, come into your world, things to be grateful for, you still have to keep pushing, even where you are today.
oh, for sure. And I'm still hoping this year. Now that this happened, which completely I wasn't expecting it, that the big band is nominated. I decided, okay, it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't, it's like, because you keep thinking, oh, maybe it's a mistake, like that's your imposter syndrome.
Oh
That
yeah, I was
never,
going to ask to use that word, but you used it.
yeah, it's like it never goes away. If anything, it gets worse when you're under the microscope and, um, you know, the pressure and the. But anyway, what was the question? We
Well,
kind of
even though you've been,
the grind
having
is.
these great things happen to you, do you still feel like it's just as much as a grind as it was in the beginning, or do have things become a little easier, or even now you just, or is the bar just elevated of what you want to be doing?
It doesn't get easier. It just gets different.
Okay.
You realize, oh, I'm now getting to the table. I'm getting a seat at the table, and I should be open to new opportunities. And it's not like your life changes overnight. And sometimes it happens. If there's like a huge label, huge money machines behind you. I've seen. We see it happen all the time. But realistically, it doesn't. And even Nicole, my wife, who won a Grammy this year for Best Vocal Jazz Album, still grinding, still flying everywhere, still trying to play music and do the thing.
Yeah, I always tell people like there's this new documentary about John Schofield, Inside Schofield or something like that, whatever it's
Oh,
called.
cool.
And you see him like just going up, like he's just sitting on the floor at the airport with his AirPods in. I'm like, this is what it is, if you really
Yeah,
be doing it.
if you love it, you love it. You don't do it for I don't know what. You do it.
So, when you play in these big bands and you do these live gigs, I mean, I know you said that a lot of it is calculated. I don't want to use the word calculated, but like, you
That's
have
okay.
to really think about these things. Have there ever been, things that happen that maybe you might have felt like, oh, this is like a mistake, but it ended up being something really great that took the music to another place? Because you're a jazz and a jazz musician. Has anything happened like that with the band?
Things happen all the time like that because even when I write and I leave a lot of room for the band to do stuff. So during solos, they can come up with their own backgrounds and their own figures sometimes, um, and they know
So
they
you give
can.
the
And
you'll give like the
I don't even give directions on
they
that.
can
Like,
make up their own they can make like up their own backgrounds
yeah,
together.
in the
Wow.
nonet and in the big band, like different sections can come up and you know depends on the tune, of course. Like
Yeah.
the more open, fun. I don't know, maybe funk tunes or something like, or blues or whatever. But there's a lot of room for improvisation beyond the improvisation sections that are like here's a solo and changes and blah blah blah. So yeah, things happen all the time, and I always go with everybody, and everybody goes with me. We like move it kind of like together. So sometimes like a trumpet solo can like take Jolene for example completely out of time and just like mess around and do like weird sounds and weird stuff and until it picks up again. Like really really fun stuff. So
Uh,
the
you
goal
know,
is to feature everybody and let them speak.
no, it sounds like you're really open to these ideas because when when you think about drummers and big bands, obviously the first thing that might come to mind is Buddy Rich, and you think about it was how notorious he was for, you know, treating his band, and I'm sure you've heard those recordings of him
Yeah,
yelling at the band on the bus and stuff like that. But it
yeah,
sounds
it's
like
not my
you're
thing.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just open for it. Like, let's go.
Yeah, because I'm with friends. I'm playing with friends and I'm creating an opportunity for us to jam together. It's not really about me or my writing or my arrangements or all that stuff. I mean, it's for me just an excuse for us to get together.
Yeah.
I've seen
So
and I've taken gigs with composers that are like way serious, and so serious that it takes the fun out of playing and out of, and I'm down for the challenge and I'm down for the every little details and all that is great, but when you mix it with the right amount of open and freedom and music and jazz and improvisation, then great. Sometimes Modern composers lack that, and they kind of forget about that, and they make it really about themselves and about their like OCD and
Too serious in a sense that
yeah.
you got to have that sense of playfulness. So what's on the agenda for, 2025 is coming up. We only got about 2 weeks of the year. What are you looking forward to in the new year?
Oh, I hope. I mean, we have a bunch of shows with Nicole's quartet, Nicole Zuraitis quartet. We're playing a lot. We have been this year, thanks to Be Natural, that have been booking us and helping us get gigs and festivals, and hopefully the big band and or the Nonet that are my projects can get more representation and maybe make it easier to, it never gets easy. Like it's not an easy choice. It doesn't have to be easy, and I'm happy that it's not easy.
Well, nothing comes easy, and if it does
Yeah,
come
I'm happy
easy,
about it. No, I love it. I do it. I love it. It's like even with espresso, there's no shortcuts. If you want a good espresso shot,
yeah.
there's all the prepping and all the measurements that have to go in. It's the same thing. It's just a recipe. So I'm happy to do it, and so hopefully I can get maybe like an agency to help or whatever.
What's
But
on the, what are there any specific gigs that you want to like dates in any cities that you could tell us
yeah,
offhand or
December 22nd is a Sunday. We're playing with the full big band, the 18-piece big band, at the Deerhead Inn in Delaware Water Gap.
legendary venue?
Yeah, really cool spot. So we hit at 5 p.m. And then January 12th, we're playing a brunch at the Blue Note with Nicole's quartet, and
Oh,
then at the
beautiful.
Django with my Nonet at 9 p.m.
Same day.
Same day, because it's APAP weekend, so like a lot of presenters are in town. So it's a good opportunity also to go and find and meet people, and you know,
Yeah, let me ask you
even
about
if
that
you're
actually,
not
because I'm kind
putting
of
a
I'm
yeah.
curious, because I remember I had to do like a 3 hour brunch gig at the Gansevoort Hotel and then go back to the Blue Note at night to play, and it was just like, how do you get through that? Like, what's your approach for those long days like that? Like, do you have to just kind of like meditate or something?
No, you just take it minute by minute.
Yeah.
Yesterday was also crazy. I landed at LaGuardia at 9 a.m. We were up at 5 or 4 or I don't know. After a gig, after flying in the same day, waking up at 4, driving from Connecticut to LaGuardia. It's like I can go back all the way to last year. It's been nonstop. So you do it because you love to. That's it, and it's better than sitting at a desk, at 9 to 5, or maybe not. But it's just my choice. I love the playing, and the playing is this small part of it. The
Well,
travel is
yeah,
small.
well, as far when you get behind the drums, um, what does it give you if you could put it into words that you can't get anywhere else? Because you chose this life. It's not an easy one, as you said, but you love it. What if you could put it into words? Is the emotions like or just the expressiveness of it? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's the expressiveness and the feeling of being a child. Like it takes me back to like my first memory of like being maybe 6 or 7 and having this like old green ugly kit with like hole in the snare and like, tape because my brothers were fighting and one of them like with scissors went into the snare drum. So I grew up on this like kick and snare and broken hi-hat that didn't even work. And that's all I wanted to do was like to play just like play beats, in the living room. And
So
so
the family was supportive musically of what you were
they were
doing.
supportive. They were not easy. I had to fight for it. I had to, because I wasn't a good student, I had to do well in high school and get a diploma and finish high school so I can be bribed and get the drum set that I wanted at the time. It was like a jazz kit that I still use on it. It traveled with me from Tel Aviv to Boston to New York. Uh, the kit I use, not the kit at home, but the kit in the car, is I've had since I was 18.
Did you always
And
know you wanted to go to Berkeley and that you were going to leave Israel and
no, it was never a plan. Again, it's so funny that the way that you think in one aspect I'm very in control of my career in a way because I hustle and book and try to put stuff together, but at the same time I'm a complete passenger in whatever else that happens because I just follow the opportunities, and the opportunities somehow find me, or like I make myself available for them to find me, or I don't know how, but even as far as going to like Berkeley and all that stuff, it was never the plan. I never even wanted to be a writer, I mean a composer or a drummer, like professionally. Like I just wanted to play music with my friends, just to play drums with my friends, not even with my friends, just like play alone at home, play along to like Beastie Boys and Nirvana or whatever, at the time. But I somehow kept moving forward with the opportunities. So everything on the way was kind of like, hey, do you want to keep playing? I was like, yes. That means like go into like a music program in high school, which means apply to a military band, like an army. Like I went to the IDF Air Force band as a
Yeah.
drummer.
Well, one of
And
my
then,
favorite movies, Al-Aka, the Israeli movie.
yeah, like
Yeah, I mean, I
the band.
remember watching the band in that movie, and I thought I grew up watching that movie, so it's interesting.
Yeah. So that was another thing. Like, hey, do you want to keep playing? Like, you have different options in life, so you have to make a choice. Do you want to apply for a jazz school while you're in the military? Yeah, okay. Do you want to apply for a scholarship to Berkeley? Why not? Who's gonna give me a scholarship? Next thing you know, and I applied twice. The first time I got nothing. Like I got like maybe 4,000. Tuition was 18,000 or 20,000 at a time. Today, God knows what. It's like 100 or.
I think I'm still paying back some of my college loans.
Yeah, like so. But the next time I applied, I got a higher scholarship, almost full. That was like, do you want to go and pursue this and do this? I was like, okay, I'll go, and then I'll come back. So I went, and then you keep pushing, you keep excelling, you keep going after things. It's like this, like, hey, do you want to blah blah blah? And I had rough moments, like when I moved to New York, and I wasn't trying to get a master's. I was not interested, but I was on a artist visa or like a student visa, and I had to make decisions. So like one of the decisions was, okay, I'll pursue a master's program. They'll give me something to do, a good framework to live in. And then after that, I got an artist visa that gave me more freedom to pursue myself and stuff. But I had to work at a moving company, and I had to work at a coffee shop, and I did all those gigs after Berkeley and after the master's program. I got out of the program.
I totally understand. I mean,
and I was like back to the coffee shop. I had no gigs,
There's a lot of misconception about being a jazz musician, even when a student, and I've seen it happen so many times, a student might go get a degree or a master's degree, and then right away they step outside, they think, oh, everything is going to just be right there waiting for them.
Yeah, they expect it. I don't know if they're being taught or they're not being unlearned.
Yeah, I think but you have to maybe think about those things.
You're not owed anything. Like
Yeah.
the fact that you went to school or not school. You are not owed anything. Like the world owes you nothing. You go and you take it. And if you're nice and kind and good and you build a community around you, people will remember you and will lift you up 20 years later, maybe when you ask for, I don't know, ask for them to play with you, or when I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, being in the Israeli Defense Force and then where you are now, it's like I'm sure you wanted to play. That self would be very proud of where you are today and all the accomplishments.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's cool to look back and to reflect on the fact that I wasn't even trying to, all I wanted was to play drums, and even this whole composing, arranging, blah blah blah, and I do it for other people now because I have like basic skills a little bit that I
No,
taught myself
definitely.
to.
Dan, I wanted to ask you one more question before we finish up. We all have teachers who help us or musicians who we play with. There's always been maybe one or two lessons that someone said, or even just one sentence that someone said to us that helped us out. Can you recall anything that someone said to you that still sticks with you today? A piece of advice, maybe it was musical or even something a little more unconventional.
There's been many. I don't remember now on top of my head. It can be musical and it can be career wise. But the thing that I took with me was to not wait by the phone, and not take anything for granted, and not pretty much to like take the career, um, be the driver and not in the passenger seat. Like I think that's the thing that helped me the most. Um, and it helped in
I'm kind of the
all
same way.
levels,
Like,
you know?
yeah, but no, but I definitely think you have to take control. I mean, my father, who's Israeli, he told me, he said, no one's going to give you anything. So if
Yeah.
you want it, you have to go get it. And that's just what it
Yeah,
is.
just like you started rabbit hole sessions and you're doing other things, and I remember you from the scene from back in the day.
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
to, you say, I want to start a podcast. Okay, well, no one's going to just sit and ask to come on. You have to go do it and, do all the trademark and all that type of stuff and get the equipment, XYZ. But no, I think you make a very valid point. I think, was that something you would tell, a younger musicians, like go get it yourself if you really want, or should they know a little something else, you think?
yeah. I think it's a good principle to have. Maybe you don't have to go get it immediately after school or during school. Sometimes I see people like come out with like a CD, like here, I made it. Like now, give me a gig. Each journey is different, and people find their selves themselves like through the process, and it's not always what they expected. So like I never expected this to be a thing, but once I realized it's a thing, I started watering the plant more. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was doing the Nonet in 2014, I started in 2010, but in 2014 I took a break and I said, no, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't like the sound of it. I don't like the fact that I'm stressed out over like 8 charts that I have. I should be able to build a body of work.
Yeah.
And so I took a break, and I was also broke at the time. So like I wasn't, like I was like making a gig here and there, but to support a 9-piece ensemble when a gig doesn't pay, I couldn't afford it. So I was like, okay, there's a time to be an artist and a time to work and go get gigs. So I took a break, and I got students and wedding gigs and whatever I needed to do to survive until I was like, okay, I'm floating, I'm good. I have
Yeah, and
like
then there's nothing wrong with those things. You're just, it
yeah,
just we gotta survive and you get to play and some, nothing wrong with it.
yeah. So there was a time for that, and then I felt the emptiness in me. I was like, okay, I'm just playing gigs. It's not enough. Now that I know what it feels like to like take music and make it personal and write something from scratch and bring it to life and workshop it with musicians and see their input and learn about it, I was like, okay, I'd like to do that more. So I bought books that I remember were recommended when I was in college and stuff. And I researched and I got arranging and orchestration and basic voicing techniques. And I'm also happy to share, if you want, I can send you whatever. Just like things to get my basic techniques um, for writing and arranging and stuff. And I taught myself, and I did exercises, and like you would go into college, I did that for myself, and it took me a long time. And I'm still always have books by my bed. Everywhere you go, downstairs or everywhere you go, there's like, because I'm a nerd for that. I love that. It became like almost a hobby for me. Um,
Yeah. No, this is great, Dan. It's so nice to reconnect with you, and I'm glad you told us all about the where you're going to be at the end of the year. Those will be some really great performances. Where can everybody find you? Website, social media, all that stuff. Can you
yeah, I'm on Instagram at Dan Pugach, or Facebook, Dan Pugach or Pugach Dan. There's two pages. And also danpugach.com. And you can hear my new album that's now up for 2 Grammys. In Best Large Jazz Ensemble, that's like the big band category, and also jazz performance for a song that Nicole and I wrote and recorded like last minute to add to the whole album for jazz performance, and it's with Troy Roberts and taking
Oh, wow.
crazy tenor solo, really gorgeous. So you can hear that also on my website.
Beautiful. No, this is great. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, hey, but man, it's good to see you, and hope we play again.
Let's
You
do it.
still you're where in Jersey, no?
Yeah, I'm in Jersey.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I was just where in Jersey?
I'm in Alabama. It's by the shore.
Ah, okay, very cool.
But I'm in the city pretty
Yeah,
regularly.
yeah, yeah. And I'm always out there, so I'll remember to hit you up.
All right, man. Awesome.